Robert, are you on your phone? That's a really nice image. Really sharp.
Good morning.
It is.
Yeah,
Good morning, everyone.
your images are so sharp considering you're in your cars.
I must have a good connection over here.
My office really quick. So
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi, Tony. Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. You still in your car? Robert,
I'm still in the car. I haven't left.
you sure you better, that's not good. Agnes is here, George. Okay. I see that we do have a quorum. So maybe we should call the meeting to order. I'm just gonna actually not call the meeting to order. We're gonna come out of recess, I guess is what the proper term is. And we're gonna go back to where we were in the agenda last week. And we're on number 5, review and discussion of proposed congressional and legislative redistricting plans adopted by the commission and any alternative plans proposed by members of the publication. I think I'm fairly certain that all the, I don't know if the community associations have had an opportunity to look at any of the plans, but I see one name that I'm not recognizing on the list here. Randy?
Yes, that's me. I'm just commissioner watching this proceedings.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, is there anybody wishing to testify or on any of the proposed plans, or the ones from the commission, or the ones that came in from the community? Is there anyone else? I take that as a no. Does any members have any comments to add or discuss regarding these proposed plans? Agnes, George, Robert?
I have one, just a couple of comments, Tony, if I may.
Okay. Okay.
So I think the plan, the second map that was submitted is a little bit more workable than the first one, which was the Adolfo one, which took big, huge swaths of Kula, and it actually split Kihei again and gave North Kihei to District 10. This is the House map. My concern about it, and I think it's one shared also perhaps by Agnes, is that there is an issue in the fact where you're going to have representation and you have actually no road that connects the Kihei community to the upcountry community, which I think is an issue, especially if people are going to want to vote in person, that they'd have to drive, 45 minutes or an hour to vote. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. And the representation issue, I think, is more of a Kihei issue about infrastructure upcountry than it is likewise. So I don't think upcountry necessarily has the same concerns about Kihei as Kihei has about upcountry and flooding and that sort of thing, those kinds of issues. So although it's not ideal, I think the wraparound with Waihei is seems to make more sense, and it also gives Kihei the ability to stay together. That's all.
Thank you, George. Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what George had mentioned. This is Agnes. Yeah, I did look at the maps that were proposed by Teragawachi and by Adolfo. I didn't have a chance to look at the current, the more current proposed map by the technical committee, but just as a comment, I do understand and appreciate and recognize the concerns by the Waikapu Community Association and render my support for them to keep the community intact. However, and also in the Central District, based on the points that they raised through their testimonies over the last several weeks. The concern I have is very similar to what George mentioned, and the fact that in the Waikapu Community Associations or Adolfo map, it does, the compelling or the primary concern I have is the fact that there is no public road connectivity in the between Kula, the Kula section that they're proposing to move to Kihei. So to me, that is really an issue for that plan. Other than that, like I said, I do support Waikapu's concern about keeping their community together, but their proposed map is too disruptive, I think, and too disruptive to the rest of the districts, impacting Lahaina as well as, besides Kula, Lahaina as well as Kihei. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Agnes. Robert, you got anything?
I did review the different maps, and I want to echo everything that George and Agnes have said. If the Teragauchi map accomplishes the same goal for the Waikapu Community Association, then that map would seem more appropriate to use than the full maps.
Okay. You kind of froze. You froze. Is there anything else? When you unfreeze, just add anything. I think you're unfrozen. Do you have anything else to add, Robert? Is that it?
I think it froze. I think it froze for a moment, but no, that's it. And since I don't live on Maui, I'm going to defer to the judgment of everyone over there who's more familiar with those specific areas. But thank you.
I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. I can somebody comment on I don't know anything about the new map that the technical committee put out. Grant, can you enlighten us a little bit? What does that do?
I know Royce is on the call. Maybe he can pull it up and
Okay.
we can look at it.
Excuse me, Chair,
Royce?
this
Yes.
is Lori.
Yeah, I'm here. I can't share my
Royce.
screen right now, but I can tell you that
Wait,
by and large,
hang on a second. Our attorney is wanting to interject.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but I just want to remind members that the agenda is limited to the one that was adopted, the proposed adopted maps, and any maps submitted by a member of the public. Unfortunately, I don't think it covers the new set of maps proposed by the technical group that were just released.
Okay, so that means we can't even discuss it?
Under this continued meeting, no, because we're following the agenda that was issued the other week.
What, and I'm not trying to be difficult, but what would happen if I disagreed with you and said, as chair, I suggested we have this discussion anyway? This is our last chance.
Sure, no, I understand.
All we're asking is basically what's in it. We're not going to vote on it. We're not going to, as far as I know, I can avoid voting on it, but I just don't know what's in it.
Sure.
And I don't think democracy. I don't think they make rules so that we don't give people opportunities. So is that okay, Laurie?
Well, I don't think discussion and deliberation about the maps that were just released by the technical group as proposed final would be permitted under sunshine law. I think it could be found to be a violation.
And what is the penalty for violation?
OIP decides, but typically it's a penalty. The penalty is usually when action is taken. So if you were to try and take action on providing feedback to those maps, which were not part of the agenda, then it could be invalidated.
What could be invalidated? The action.
Yes.
Okay. And
Chair,
but
Chair,
any of us, go ahead. Who's that? Robert.
pardon me, Chair, Rob Stephenson. Since on the agenda there is public testimony, could that map be submitted as public testimony from a member of the public, and then we would be able to discuss it as a public testimony item?
I think that would be circumventing the principles by having them try.
My gut tells me, members, that I'm not trying to be flippant, but sometimes we go a little too far with this stuff, and we put restraints on ourselves that sometimes lead us not the best possible product. And if you guys are willing to go forward with the discussion, I certainly am, and I would risk, being censured or whatever the heck the OIP would do, or I'm okay with it.
Chair, may I ask a question?
Sure.
So we have the meeting tomorrow, right?
You're Robin, right?
Yes, I am. I'm a commissioner.
Thank
you
you,
guys,
Robin.
sorry. You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us all the time. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I want to make sure I'm listening.
Okay.
I think I just met this morning with some of the neighborhood boards over here on Oahu, and basically the 22nd, the agenda for the meeting tomorrow where they're presenting the plans, I believe you guys will have the ability as individuals to raise your hand and ask questions or testify after that presentation. And they're going to present the new map. So you may not be able to communicate as a whole right now. I don't want you guys to get in trouble, but you can certainly testify orally or in writing on December 22nd, right? Lori, is that true? They can save those comments for that meeting?
Absolutely. Any member can go and testify as an individual.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. I guess, members, I leave this up to you guys. Again, as stated, I'm more than willing to continue the discussion. We're a public body. We're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to get the best possible product that we can for our island. And too often, I find we get hampered by rules that, in my opinion, in my singular opinion, are outdated and just useless. If we're not doing anything wrong, we're not doing anything underhanded, and we're just trying to do our jobs. And we've spent quite a bit of time as individuals giving to this endeavor. I'd like for us to complete it. So
Maybe I can just give you a quick update, referencing the publicly submitted maps, right? I can't share my screen and show you the new maps, and it sounds like we shouldn't discuss them, or you guys shouldn't discuss them anyway. But between the Adolfo and the Taragawachi, when you go look at the Maui house, and they are all 9 now, the proposed final maps, and they will be discussed tomorrow, you will find the Maui house maps very closely follow the Taragawachi maps.
Okay. Is that the
So the testimony we just heard about the Adolfo maps, cutting Kihei and so forth, yeah, that's been heard and noted, and I think you'll see when you look at those that it more closely follows the Taragawachi.
okay? For me, you're a genius, and you kept me out of jail, I guess. Thank you. Any comments by the members? Any further comments based after those comments?
I'd like to make a comment, ask a question. Chair, can we on behalf of the advisory Maui Molokai Ilana Ikolave Advisory Council, can we take a position to render our, I mean, I'm not sure how we feel as a body, but can we show our support for Waikapu, just to address their concern, because they've come out in force, they've expressed their concern. Can we present that to, as a body?
Agnes, I think
Willing
what
to
we,
make a motion. I mean, before going, I mean, there's issues we had, or issues I had, as a, I live in District 12 and I see the impact on upcountry. I've been a resident of District 12 for over 45 years. And so I have personal concern as a resident of what they're doing, or the proposed changes to upcountry in the Adolfo map. But as I mentioned, I do support the community's concern about keeping their community intact and in Central Maui. So I feel, as an advisory member, I'd like to, formalize that position and present it as an advisory council on behalf of their concerns.
I think
Chair,
what would
would-
make sense, Agnes, is to support the Teragawachi map. Because then, and if I'm, and allow the technical committee to clean it up. The Teragawachi map takes care of the problem, is what I'm told.
But I'm not, sorry.
You're not what? Go ahead.
I'm not sure in its entirety what else the Teragawachi map does.
All
And
it
that's-
does is wrap around to Waihe. It takes the Waihe, Kakalua Waihe, and it sticks them in Lahaina. And for that reason, and that singular reason alone, I don't like it. I think Waihe, and even though there is a road, it is a road that nobody in there nobody wants to travel on. But I totally get what it does.
Well, so Chair, if you're opposed to that portion of the Teragawachi map, then that doesn't, I'm not sure how us supporting that would satisfy you personally. And that's why I'm saying just to address specifically and show support for who's concerned. That's what I feel comfortable.
No, and Agnes, I appreciate that, but this whole process that we go through, in everything that we go through when it comes to our community, is not about what satisfies me. It's about what we as a group decided. And I think the three of you have given it a lot of thought. You guys have spent a lot of time on this, just as I have. And I appreciate your opinions. So the opinion may be 3-1 that we support that map, but it absolutely is a better, well, it absolutely takes care of the Waikapu problem. Make no question about that, but it creates a Waihe problem. That's all it does. And I have no problem as chair supporting that position on a 3-1 vote. I really don't. I think that's my job. And that's democracy in action.
Chair, if I may.
Go ahead, George.
The thing is, we just heard from the technical committee that the map seems to taken care of the considerations that we had brought up about, the keeping Kihei whole and, the issues about Kula. So we don't know what that is. We haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. So I think until we actually see it, we may be able to support that and not any of the public submitted maps and get on board with what the technical committee has designed. So I think, we should wait until we have an opportunity to see that. Maybe that blended map that the committee did maybe addresses some of your concerns about too much of that being, but I think in any case, we're going to be looking at the lesser of two evils, or three evils, right? So I think we just have to look at which has the least amount of impact and seems to make the most amount of sense, even though it may not make sense on the surface of having Waihe part of Lahaina and Kahakaloa. But is that better than taking a big swath of Kula with no connectivity to the Kihei community whatsoever as District 11 and taking a large swath of that and incorporating it? So I think we should just wait until tomorrow and look at the map that is presented tomorrow in the meeting, and then we can chime in as the public and say what we like and what we don't like.
Okay, so if this body is suggesting that we all testify as individuals, I'm okay with that. But I think the body should say that, you know, we definitely and well, I don't particularly like kicking the can down the road, George, frankly. And for me, I don't, and I as much as I understand what you guys are saying about the road to Kula, there would have been a road to Kula 20 years ago if the Kula community would stop killing it. But that's life.
Even more so why we shouldn't support that.
I understand.
But the thing is, ideally, I think in this situation, Tony, what would be great, but we can't do it.
Yeah.
Is have another meeting, do everything under the sunshine, take a look at the new proposed committee map, look at all 3 options or 4 options or whatever they are, and get behind one of them. But from what I understand, we don't have the time to do that. So if we're not willing to put all of us, I think as a consensus, putting all our eggs into the 3rd iteration of the map, and we don't really know what's in the 4th, so it's like we're discounting the 4th without seeing it. That's all I'm saying. I think we need to give consideration to what the technical committee.
Okay, I think Rob, you have any comment on that?
You know, I'm on the fence on that. It does make sense to wait to see the map before we make a decision on what to support. But if we don't have the chronological time to do so, it would be important also that we take a position. So it's a tough choice, a tough decision, and you know, I will respect whatever this committee decides on, and whichever way it goes is the way the body votes.
George, what about and Agnes, what if we did something like say that we generally support the Teragawachi map generally, with an understanding that the technical committee may have some corrections that would make it an even better map, and we would support that.
I would support that.
Yeah, I'd like for the body to send something. I don't want us to.
I would support that as well.
Agnes, you okay with something like that? And I can add a sentence that says the reason we support it because the Waikapu community made a very clear statement.
Yes.
Yeah, of disenfranchisement, and therefore.
So yes, Chair, I would really like to add that comment, and that's what is making me hesitant, because the Waikapu community, they came out, they testified, they put in the time to do a map, and I feel that we really should address and take a position on whether we support them or not. And
Gotcha.
So yes.
Okay. Everybody else okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. George?
Yep, I'm in support.
Okay. Very good then. That's what we'll do. And just so that we're clear, let me attempt to restate it, that we as a advisory committee are supportive, are appreciative of our community input, in particular the input from the Waikapu Community Association, and taking their recommendations into consideration. We are supportive of the Teragawachi map, and because we do not have the abilities of the technical committee, we would appreciate any clarifications or improvements that they can make to it. How's that?
I support that.
I don't know. I don't know if I could repeat that exactly. That sounded really good to me. Do our best to testify that way tomorrow. And you all are absolutely welcome to join in as members to support that or share anything you'd like to.
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I just like to reemphasize that the fact that we support Waikapu in keeping the community whole and in Central. Because that was I think that's important to include in the language that you just mentioned.
If you want to, give me the language. I'll read it tomorrow. How's that?
Also keeping Kihei whole.
Yeah.
And-
Okay, you guys all give me your proposed language, and I will promise you I will craft it in such a way that takes all of that into consideration.
Chair, I'm sorry, this is Lori again.
Oh crap, I cannot do that, yeah.
One consideration might be what the Oahu Council, Advisory Council recently did is to take a recess to kind of put together some language, which then can be voted upon today by the entire council, and then you can then submit it as a report.
Okay. Laura, you get what we're trying to do. Can you put it in language?
I actually, I'm not familiar at all with any of the
Okay.
the maps, but what might be a helpful starting point is I shared the Kauai report, for example. I don't have a copy of the Oahu Advisory Council report, but it basically just shows a general template of how this body could provide feedback to the commission. And so another way to kind of help do that right now, actually, without taking a recess, is there's a chat function here on the Zoom meeting. Each member could probably input their proposed language in the chat function. And then we can kind of cut and paste that, and then there can be a vote on that. The chat function is very helpful. That way also the public can see what's being proposed.
Thank you, Lori. I have another, guys, I promise you, I can do this. I will represent us properly tomorrow, if that's okay with you. And I think do we need a formal vote, Lori? On that statement that I made earlier?
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys don't mind, oh, you know what? And all I got to add to that previous statement was that it keeps Kihei and Waikapu intact.
And in Central Maui.
With Central, yeah, with Central and with Kihei.
Keeping Kihei whole, I think that's what.
Keeping
George-
Kihei whole and Waikapu intact with Central. Okay,
Sounds good, Tony.
all
You
right.
make a motion for that?
Yes,
Is that what-
please, make a motion.
I make a motion to what you said, Tony,
Okay.
that we,
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion on this issue? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay? We all good? We legal? We're not going to jail?
Thank you.
Rob, you're too cute to go to jail.
You're too kind, Tony. You're too kind.
Okay, well, anything else we need to do, Lori? We're good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much for doing our jobs and being a part of democracy. I think it's wonderful. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas and Happy New Year, Tony, and all the rest of the members.
All right, take care. Aloha.
thank you, Merry Christmas.
Same to
Bye-bye.
you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.